another episode of the Foundation Laws with Cody Bryce here on Gathering of Light. Hi, Cody.
Hello.
It's so nice to have you here, both Cody and everyone who's watching whenever you are watching this. This is a episode about Law 4. We have had a couple of these communications chats before and been working through the foundation of the law. Will you just do the summary of what we have been talking about?
Yes, yeah. So we talk about the 5 laws of reality or creation, and we are on law 4. What you put out is what you get back. We've gone through the first 3, which law 1 is you exist. Law 2 is everything is here and now. Law 3 is the all is one, the one is all. We are number 4. Number 5 is the only constant is change, except for the laws.
Yeah, and we have been working through law 1, 2, 3, and we are today going to talk about what you put out is what you get back. And you also said reality is a mirror. It will always reflect the energy you project.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's like most of the laws, it seems very simple when you first hear it, but it can get very, very deep. And it's, most people think about it as either physics or as a manifestation type of thing, but it gets deeper into your actual consciousness, your vibrational state of being, and into the actual reality that you are projecting out from your consciousness, from your energy. So yeah, definitely gets really fun to think about once you actually dive deep.
So how can you use that? Because I think we all have this vision of this. I think everybody know that the one thing about quantum physics is what you put out will come back tenfold to you once again. So beware of what you are thinking. So this is practically what this law is about. What you put out is what you get back. But that doesn't just have with thoughts to do with thoughts. It has to do with something more.
Yes, it's everything. It's your vibrational state of being at the time. If you're anxious or happy, all that type of stuff, all that little changes of vibration will change the reality that you receive back, if you will. Also has to do with your actions as well. So it's your emotions, your thoughts, and your actions. If you're very active and all that type of stuff, you're going to get an active life back. If you're very stagnant, you're going to get a stagnant life. It's that kind of thing. Everything has the equal and opposite reaction if you want to go with physics.
Yeah, because we are often so focused about your conscious thoughts, and what you are talking about now is very much subconscious thoughts or subconscious actions. And when you said what your emotions will affect you and the cause and effect of what you are doing, and that's the wheel of karma. So there's a lot of aspects connecting to this law.
Yes, very much so. Yeah, like I said, it's much more deep than the simple manifestation or simple kind of the energy and what you put out, what you get back. It's in Wiccan traditions or teachings, it's threefold. Whatever you put out, you'll get back threefold. And other practices, it's tenfold and all that type of stuff. But that, again, is just very surface level of stuff. It's much more about how you're actually experiencing reality, if you will. It's your energy has a unique frequency to it. It's a kind of a your own core frequency, and that is truly the thing that is like pushing out the reality that you are going to be experiencing, you're going to be interacting with. And so And that's kind of also goes back to the everything is here and now, where it's the frequency that you're putting out is the frames of reality that you're attracting. And so that's kind of the involved with that, as well as the actual frames of reality, the things that you are attracting to you.
So it's not just that I consciously decide what I want to have and let it be there. It's the whole attraction. Yeah. How should I put this? A lot of these lately workshops that has been on Facebook is how to gain reality, to have reality work for you. What you put out there is to attract, and it's almost in every time, you focus on the highest, best lifestyle in 3D dimension. And I guess that what you said the earlier times we were talking, that it has to be in your vibration and in your path to actually happen.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
or something like that.
Basically, if you're trying to create or manifest something that is nothing to do with your path, the reason why you chose to incarnate into life itself, then it's not going to show up. Basically, it's like, if it's not meaningful, then there's no reason to do it. If you're just playing around just to see if it happens, there might be something that sometimes it happens, and that would basically just be it reinforcing the fact that you have power to create and all that type of stuff. But it's not like you're going to be like, okay, I want to look a completely different, or have a completely different life from what I am now. It's, you can work towards that in small little steps, but it's not going to be an instant thing. And it's definitely not going to be, you wanting to be on a different planet or something like that. And you're going to be manifesting this, some spaceship to come down, pick you up and go over to another planet. It's not really based on what is needed for you in this life. If your goal to be here is to teach others or something like that, then you going off into the mountains being secluded isn't going to be part of that life. You need to, it might be get you into where you can actually learn some stuff, but you're going to eventually have to come back into life and teach. It's just all about your pathway.
Yeah, so basically it's if you're feeling passionate by something in your life, that is probably the one thing that you can extend with the conscious thoughts about how to explore and move forward in that direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a good I guess what's it called, like equation, if you will, of this kind of manifestation, putting out what you want to get back, is basically act on your passion or excitement to the best of your ability, with no expectations of what or how it should come to you, and then go with it as far as that can go, and then act on that next thing of passion, next excitement. And that could be very big goals of like life goals, so to speak, or very small goals of, what do I want to do today? What do I want to do next? If your passion is like, oh, I want to take a walk, then take a walk, act on it. Your passion is, I want to read, go read. It's acting on the thing that you feel passionate about and excited about, because that's a direct kind of communication from your higher self saying, like, this is what you need to be doing right now. Excitement is communication from your higher self.
Yeah. So even if you are following your passionate side, so to speak, let's take in this that you are creating something, handcraft or paintings or whatever, and if you're not putting out the conscious thought of being in exhibitions or anything in the future line, the energy that you're working up when you're following through your passion is somehow going to take you that direction anyway, because it's in your path.
Yes, basically. Yeah, it's if it's in your path to be this, top artist and stuff like that, but for right now, that's not like you're in your even mindset, in your consciousness at all. All you're wanting to do is create. You just have this passion for creating something, be it sculpture or painting or any type of art form. then that's what you need to act on now, is that first step of passion, that like, oh, I'm excited to create. And doing that will lead to more and more opportunities, steps, pathways opening up, so that eventually that thing comes to fruition to where you are top artist, master of art, if you will, and it's just, that would be part of that pathway that is kind of set up for you, or you kind of set up for yourself when you incarnate. But doing the small steps is the kind of what leads up to that grand thing. So it's all about the small that leads up to the big.
Yeah, so the path that you are incarnated on is giving you these hints through your passionate side, or these ideas that you get that you should follow through, act upon, etc. So that is the divine kick in the butt to get you to move forward on your path.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. It's kind of the communication. Like, okay, this is what you kind of set up for yourself. We're gonna sprinkle little hints of like, okay, you're passionate about this. You're passionate about this. Maybe you should go towards that. And so you eventually, do. Maybe some people might, go off the side because it might not be time for that ultimate path that you're going off of. Therefore, you find some other passion, and then it eventually kind of fades out to where it's not passionate anymore. You're not passionate about it anymore. Therefore, that passion has ended. You've gone as far as you can with that thing, and therefore you go with something else. You move on to the next thing, which might eventually come to that ultimate path that you've chosen to incarnate for.
I have this thought in my head right now that follow your heart is a very big concept within this, follow through, follow your heart, to do what you're feeling nudged to do. But it also could be, even though you follow your heart, it depends on what your heart is drawing you to. Because if you're following your heart and it's not in your way, I don't know why I got this thought, but because it has nothing to do with passion, or maybe it has, but suddenly I got follow your heart, and then I saw a couple, two people who are maybe not even know each other, but the one has a passion for the other one, and following that heart to get acquainted with the other person, and the other person isn't interested in that person. So that is a passion that you may not be able to follow. So how is that different towards the concept of what we are talking about? Because there has to be a difference there.
Yes, well, it's almost actually on the same thing, to where that person that has passionate for the other person, but the other person doesn't have the equal, doesn't reciprocate that thing. It could be part of that person's path, or kind of lessons, if you will, to have that passion. The person doesn't have that thing. They learn something from that and are able to take that into the next passion that they have, that next person that excites them.
Yeah.
But if you get stuck on that one, then you didn't learn the lesson, basically, of maybe that is the lesson. If you get stuck on it and you can't let go of that person, then you've gone the lesson of, oh, I have too much attachment to this thing. And therefore your lesson is to detach, to not have as much attachment, and you can move on, be fluid with your passions and move on. But yeah, it's
I thought that was a pretty tricky question, but now when you describe it, it's so obvious. So obvious. Yeah. Well, that also brings me into what you wrote about law 4. Reality is a mirror. It will always reflect the energy you project. So when you are feeling drawn to follow your passion, into to do something, hobbies or work or whatever it is you are drawn to do. So the mirror in that is when you are getting tangled up in a lot of mixed emotion about, nah, this is not for me, or how can I, do things because I'm not good at it, or something. And that will bring you back to energy, what you put out in energy form. not just in thought form, the whole
Mhm.
fear-based.
Yes, yeah, fear-based beliefs. That's going to go back to your belief systems, to where if you have some fear-based belief, it's going to hold on to that as much as possible. It's going to kind of like trick you into believing that that belief is what you need to be holding on to. And if that belief is I'm not good enough for this thing, I can't do it, and all this type of stuff, that's fear-based beliefs that are saying, you're right, that's too scary. You can't do it. Stick with me. Stick with me. You know. And so eventually you do have to work through those beliefs and completely change it, to completely look at the beliefs that are stopping you from achieving that passion, going towards that passion. And eventually, if you really look at it and you realize, yeah, that belief isn't serving me. It's not doing anything good for me. It might be safer, if you will. It might feel safer. But when you move on, or if you kind of get rid of that belief and say, oh yeah, I do have the ability to do it. I might fail with certain things, but failure is part of progress. You kind of need to fail to be able to learn from mistakes and grow and all that type of stuff. And so you move on. You can kind of get courage to do that thing. And when you kind of do that, that fear-based belief of you can't do it seems so illogical that you just drop it. It seems like, oh, that was a nonsense thing for me to believe, or that was a nonsense thing for me to keep on and hold on to. So it just drops, it goes away. And you have a different belief that replaces it, saying, I am confident, I can do this if I put my mind to it, if I put my energy and whole being towards this thing.
So I try to go back in my own memory about how I have been navigating through this, and the early memories that I have from, visualize something that I want to do, or a way to walk in the future, then I see it in my head. I put out the vision there, and I don't follow through with thought. I'm not going to think about it. I'm just going to put it out there. This is what I want, and then just leave it alone. And usually that will happen within, like, for me, almost everything will happen within the next coming 6 months. Not everything, of course. There are things that are not following through or landing in my lap, but a lot of stuff actually do.
Yes, yeah, and it's all about that equation, so to speak, that I told before. Part of that equation is the having or not having expectations of it and holding on to that vision. You have the passion, you can visualize it. You visualize it as perfect and as as detailed as you can. You being in the place, doing the thing, or all that type of stuff. And then once you have that vision just completely solid, you drop it. You say, okay, I'll let it go. I'll let my higher self, all the other spirit beings, all that type of stuff that are helping me, put that on my pathway. And if it's part of this, if it's going to be something that is going to be beneficial to you on your path, then it will manifest towards it. And it's you having the communication back and forth with your higher self. Higher self will bring passions. It'll be communicating through excitement and passions with you, and numbers and all this other stuff. But mainly, the passions. Oh, I need to do this. That's communication from your higher self. You communicating back is doing the action towards that thing and having visualizations of, oh, this is what I want to do. And then you leave it up to it. You drop it, you leave it up to the higher self, and it does what it does with it, but it can do. And your visualization of it might not be the most perfect or the most beneficial thing to you. Therefore, the higher self will bring the thing that will be most beneficial to you. So it might be slightly different from what you visualize. Therefore, if you're holding on to that visualization of this is how it's supposed to manifest, this is how it's supposed to be, then you block yourself from achieving the highest possible thing for you.
So you shouldn't actually you shouldn't visualize and then try to get in there, and fix the little things that you want to have in the visions. You shouldn't be controlling the outcome of it. You should just leave it with a blueprint. and
Yes,
let the other
exactly.
side work yourselves
Mhm.
through the higher
Mhm.
intentions down to
Mhm.
reality where we are right now.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's like kind of leaving it up to them to give you the final product. You give them
Mm,
the idea, you give them the direction, so to speak, with your visualization, with your thing. And they'll be like, okay, well, that's the direction. We're going to create it this way because this is going to be most beneficial to you. And we'll put it in your lap. But we'll
mm,
have, we'll communicate with you with passions of this is how you get to that vision of then get to that thing that you wanted.
mm. So, all these, creative people who are always thinking about ideas and what they want to do and just doing, 5% of everything they think. All these thoughts are left in the air, in the
Mhm.
creation state, and every thought is starting a process of actually manifesting itself.
Mhm.
So when they are not nursed into a real idea or vision, what happens with all these creational thoughts out there? Are they like just swirling around out there, or what's actually happening with that energy?
It would be there would be frames of reality that are the manifestation of those things. They basically all exist, if you get
Yeah.
it. They all exist, but you chose a specific path, a specific frames of reality. They're all out there. So every thought that you have creates that reality. It's just you might not choose the path to experience that reality. You go towards a different one.
Yeah.
And
So
so each one, yeah.
all these realities path are connected to you throughout your lifetime. So they are a chaotic
Hmm.
mess around every
Yes.
human being. Okay. So
Hmm.
is that healthy? Because,
Well, it's kind of one reason why people meditate and all that type of stuff is to calm those thoughts down, to have less of them, if you will, to have
uh,
more precise and direct thoughts, so that it's not 50 million thoughts happening every day. It's 100,000, but they're very strong. 100,000, very direct and kind of to the point, if you will. It's not going out everywhere. It's a little bit honed down, and
mm,
it's not necessarily unhealthy or healthy. It's just it creates a lot of energetic mess, as you called it. It's kind of it's just all out there, and therefore it's kind of hard to choose the path. If you have 50 million paths that you want to go down, you
mm.
have to kind of navigate a little bit more. If it's a little bit more direct line, it kind of seems like it flows easier.
And all these
Mhm.
thoughts out there in the universe, are they by themselves not mirroring each other, but seeking the vibrational connection with some other, like if you are thinking, having these messy thoughts and they are out there, are they connecting to another human being or other alien
Yep.
being, conscious
Yeah.
massive mind, if they are on the
Mhm.
same vibrational
Mhm.
frequency?
Yeah, basically, if you have a thought that has the same vibration of like another thought of another being, and so you have this thought, but the thing would be like it's not like you originated that whole thing. It's you have that vibration is there. Speaking, going back to law two of everything is here and now,
Mm,
it is all created already, so it's already there. So you having the thought didn't create it. It was already there. You just happened to be the one thinking the thought at that time.
yeah.
It's kind of again, it gets very confusing, if you will, because we experience time in a linear way, but that's not how existed was, created, if you will. It's not how existence is. It's all here and now. And so if another person, another being has that thought at the maybe a different time period or even at the same time, it's not like one that result is connected to either one of them. It's just out in the air. and it just happens to collide with the vibration, the core frequency that they're putting out. Therefore, it resonates with that person. It comes to them.
Because that is pretty interesting. It's also very fun because every time you start to think about something, someone else, if you're not acting upon the idea that you have, you can bet your something on that someone else is going to drop that idea like a couple of weeks later, and you'll think like, how on earth did they know that I was going to do that?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, it kind of comes back to the very beginning of why Source incarnate out all these different things. It's Source wants to be all possibilities possible. It wants to have every possibility, and therefore, if you had the thought, but you didn't act on it, you didn't follow through with it, somebody else will be able to experience it because they will eventually have that thought, that thing that will align with the frame of reality, and then they get to experience it because it has to be experienced. If you have the thought, it has to be created and it has to be experienced.
So the other part of that is, if you are having a thought that you are not following up on, the idea that I get is actually coming from someone who hasn't followed up on that idea.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, it
Could be.
It gets a little complicated when you kind of like dive deep into it and try to explain it in logical words, but like you kind of have to just feel it. That's like, oh yeah, this is like all of this happening right now, and if I don't experience one thing that I had a manifestation of, or if I tried to manifest something and I didn't go with it, then that thing is going to manifest in some way if another person does it and experiences it for himself or herself. It's again getting messed up.
I do know it's very hard to explain, because the other side, the spiritual side, isn't logical, so you can't explain it in our words, because it doesn't work like that. It's so much more. But the interesting part is when you are having this emotion about something, one idea or something else, a passion that you want to follow through with, and this fear-based energy that sometimes comes at you as a wave, emotional wave, and just put you down, and it brings all this fear back into you. You are opening up for that energy, of course, because you're somewhere you're already on that vibration. And why some people can feel like this massive resistant on doing something, could that be that this negative thought form has been empowered by similar vibrational thought forms, and you are opening up for that vibration? So that is why you are feeling this huge amount of, no, I'm not going to do that. It's not my time. I'm not worthy, or I'm not good enough, or whatever it could be.
Yeah, there could be, built-in belief systems at the very beginning of it, and also kind of a mass consciousness type of thing, to where if there's a massive amount of people that are fearful of the same thing, then it kind of empowers that fear-based belief that's saying, oh, you shouldn't do it because nobody else is doing it. It's like, you can't do it because this hasn't been done. If there's kind of a collective agreement, if you will, and the collective consciousness that there's certain things that we shouldn't do, or shouldn't, all that type of stuff, not to be like morbid or anything like that, but like there's a collective consciousness that killing someone is kind of bad, and so there's kind of a fear-based belief of killing someone. And even though that's a bad example for trying to do something positive, but there's still a fear-based belief that if you kill someone, it is bad.
Well, I'm glad you're taking this example, because I want to mirror that too into these. We all heard about Tibetan monks sitting, meditating upon visions, holding energy for Earth, for humankind, etc. And somehow that's the nice energy. And people are, sometimes I get a feeling that everything that is nice is a bit, you don't take it that serious because it's not a threat to your existence. So I do believe, my personal belief is that everything that is working for you, or nice, and you're doing something good for someone else, that is such a power in that energy. But since you think it's a bit cuckoo to do that, it's not as accepted in the most human minds of doing good and doing things, acting upon your heart's belief that this is something that is good for the higher good. But when it comes to fear, you don't need other people around you to empower you, because you are tapping into that energy right away, because every senses are on the edge when you're feeling scared or feeling fear. So that is like the huge magnet that just pulls in every energy. And when you're feeling love, it's soft, it's smooth, and you don't pay so much attention to it.
Yes, yeah, because love doesn't push. Love doesn't push you. Fear pushes you. Fear is the one that's fighting really hard for you to stay in that energy, stay in the fear-based beliefs or fear-based, energy. Love doesn't force you to be into love. It doesn't force anything. Therefore, it seems like fear is the stronger one because it's more forceful with its energy. It's more like, I'm going to make you stay in this state of being, and make you stay, make you believe of this in this fear-based belief system. So it has to work harder basically to keep you there. Therefore, it seems like that one's stronger. It's more up in your face, whereas love is more background, because love knows that it's ultimate power. It knows that everything is unconditional love, and you're just dealing with that right there. It's always going to be there. Fear is the thing that kind of tries to make you believe that love isn't always going to be there.
Yeah, and that is two opposite of very powerful energies. Yes. They are very, 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 very powerful. And I'm not sure where I want to go with this. No, the question just flew away. Someone else will pick it up.
Yes, exactly.
So what should we say more about this law? What you put out is what you get back.
Yes, yeah. Well, it's one that's not exactly, it's somewhat connected to this, but it's more just like an example of, you can't experience anything, or you can't really experience yourself without the other. You can't really experience you without the reality around you, which would be the other. It's not just a person, it's just the other. And therefore reality is kind of like that mirror, or kind of like the holographic nature of reality, if you want to put it that way. We're all fragments of it, therefore we're all mirrors of the reality. And therefore what you're putting out to the mirror is your image. When you look at a mirror, it reflects your images, but you're the one projecting the light. That light's coming from you to the mirror, it's projecting back that light. And so without that coming back, you wouldn't be able to experience anything. You'd be left in the void because there's nothing coming back. So that's what putting out is. What you get back is you putting out you getting back you.
And that is both for good and for worse.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, interesting. So yeah, and that is the mirror, that whatever you are putting out there, you will get back. And that is, it's always you that you are putting out there. It's your fears, it's your love, it's your passion, and it's your I don't want to do that attitude. So interesting. It is interesting. Yeah, go ahead, Cody. You had something more.
Yeah, well, it was just kind of I learned most of that from Bashar as well, the mirror thing, and kind of an interesting thing, or for some reason it just popped in my head, and I don't know why it's connected to this, but if you have two spheres, this is actually from Alan Watts, but okay, that's where I got it from. Okay, if you have two spheres in space, just void, nothing, you don't know which one is moving, which one's not moving, because you there's no relation to if this one's moving. You don't know if this one's moving away or this one's staying still and that one's moving away. So the two, you can never know where movement is or where any action or anything like that is not clear. But when you add a third sphere, that's when you can tell if something is coming away from the other two or going closer to the other two. That one's which one's moving, basically. And so it's not just you, the mirror of one other, it's also like a three. And therefore, trying to connect how it goes with that one. That's what you put out, what you get back. But you kind of need three to experience movement. You only need two to experience other. If you have two dots, you can just experience the other. You know that there's an other there.
Mm-hmm.
But when you add the third, that's when you get movement. That's when you get knowledge of spatial awareness. And I'm pretty sure the third would be the actual mirror itself. And so what you get back is the light that is kind of reflected of you with the mirror. So you can think of it as if a mirror is, the plane, you have you on this side, you can think of another you on this side, right? So the third is the mirror itself, the thing that does the reflecting, which I believe is a part of source as well. So
I think you are so perfectly right. I'm not kidding you. I just had that image in my hand right now. There's a saying when you are experiencing energy that you don't want to have around you, you should like put up mirrors and mirror it back. And that is not about me sending the energy back, to someone. I'm putting up this mirror and the mirror is reflecting. So what I have within myself will go to the mirror and back to myself. And what comes from the other side will reflect in the mirror and going back to that. So that is the me, mirror, and me, since we are all one.
yes.
So yeah, amazing. I love this quantum energy. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Quantum stuff is very fun. But
yeah. So we are going to do some type of reflection or meditation upon this law.
Yes, yeah, I actually had one that is much more of the active guided meditation, if you will. It's more, something you actually have to do, if you will. But I thought this one would be good because we're kind of talking about manifestation for most of it. You kind of what you're putting out, kind of what you're putting back. And so this is a guided meditation to allow you to manifest a certain type of body, if you will. It's like any little changes that you want to happen with your body, you can kind of, with this meditation, help move you towards that body that you're wanting. If it's either slightly losing weight, slightly gaining muscle, clearer face, or it's kind of little things. It's not necessarily just all about glamour or kind of I want to fix this type of thing. It's more of just what you feel your body should be at that time. And so it's somewhat a fun one, kind of not too short, but it can be short depending on how long you want to take with it. But it's interesting.
So you are going to give us an example of how to work. You're giving us an example of how to work with it when we are sitting there.
Yes, when you're yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, because this is a guided meditation that you first need someone to guide you through it. But once you kind of learned the process, you can just sit down and do it yourself. Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. So okay. I'm going to mute myself. So.
Okay. So if you get into comfortable place, you feel good, close your eyes, and we're going to start with walking on a path. We're just kind of walking on a path. You see this stream before you, and stream is only about, it just covers your feet, if you will. And so it's a very, very not deep stream. What you're going to do is put your feet into the stream to kind of let that water run over your feet, kind of calming you, getting connected with yourself, with your body, feeling it going over. Once you're connected, you continue walking on the path. As you're walking, you find yourself in front of 3 mirrors. You go up to the first mirror, and it is a normal mirror. You just see you as you are now. You go over to a second mirror, and this one is kind of like one of those carnival mirrors. It's a funny mirror, kind of distorts you, makes you taller, bigger, shorter, and kind of messes with the image a little bit. So you can kind of see it and play around, laugh at yourself a little because it looks funny. And then once you're kind of done playing with your image in that fun mirror, you go to the third, and you see that the third isn't reflecting anything back to you. You see it's almost empty. And so with this one, you have the opportunity to put the image that you want to reflect back. And so you can either walk up to the mirror itself and kind of be in the mirror and kind of create in that way, or you can just see it from a distance. But with this mirror, you kind of put what you want to see back in that mirror. If it's, slightly smaller body, slightly taller, and just little things of what you feel would make you happy, with the image in that mirror. And once you've kind of gathered that image, you can go up and put your hand onto the mirror, and you'll see that the other is putting its hand right onto yours. It's truly reflecting you now. You are becoming one with that image, that reflection. Once you've done that, you can step back from the 3 mirrors. You turn around, you go back onto the path that you were on. Find that stream again. Put your feet into the stream. Have it run over your feet again, calming you, getting centered with yourself again. You can continue on with that path. Once you feel comfortable, you can come back into your body, become aware of yourself, and voila, back and ready. So again, very short meditation, very quick, but it can be very powerful.
Yeah, I should definitely say so. Very effective. So you can actually follow through with both on the path and stream and then the mirrors. So very interesting, and it felt very good inside. Very clear, like you've been actually the stream actually flow over the whole you instead of just your feet. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you kind of just have it on the feet to kind of get you the awareness that you're kind of centering yourself. You're kind of coming deeper into the kind of meditation, if you will. You're kind of really diving deep into it, but it does feel like it's kind of just washing over you. But it's kind of different to go into there and say you have a giant wave hitting you. It's a little bit softer, just to go over the feet. But I've seen this meditation do pretty crazy stuff with people where they truly change. One of my favorite examples was one that it was a female that was doing this, and she was a little overweight type of thing, and her husband were kind of trying to lose weight together, right? And so she did this meditation, and she literally lost 30 pounds overnight, like straight up, just it disappeared. She doesn't know how, she doesn't like anything like that. And then her husband basically got mad at her because she dropped 30 pounds in one night and he's still working so hard to get rid of it. And so it was kind of just a funny little thing. But yeah, she literally lost 30 pounds in one night just because she did this guided meditation. And it stayed off. It didn't come back the next day or anything like that. It truly transformed how she looked, you know.
So that is also the intention, the divine intention that helps you manifest into reality using a visualization, the energy, because that is one thing that we can say about these visualizations, that they aren't, it's not what you see in the when you are visualizing. It's more like the things that you see holds a frequency that generates a frequency within yourself and becomes like a subtle metaphor for the vibration. Is that a good description of it?
Yeah, sort of. It's basically the vibration, the visualization creates a frequency, a resonant frequency within your body, and that will attract the frames of reality that connect to that visualization that you're wanting to do. And therefore it'll bring you closer to that. You'll just basically resonate with the frequency that you created in your mind, in your visualization to it. So, yeah.
So that is also when people say where you are putting your attention or intention, the energy will flow. So if you are repeatedly doing this manifestation or visualizations, then you will empower that frequency or that energy that is connected with the image that you are seeing and resonate with your own vibrational.
It's like one of the things that kind of when topic of manifestation comes up, they often talk about the the law of attraction or whatever it's called, law of attraction. You're putting out there, you're having vision boards and doing that type of stuff. But the thing that they're missing with that is that most of that teaching is saying you put it out there and it's going to come to you, right? But it's not actually how that works. So the physics of it is you might have the visualizations and vision boards, all that type of stuff, but you're the ones that pulling it towards you. It's not coming to you. It's going to manifest itself and then come towards you. It's you having a vibration within you of that's going to happen. That's what I'm manifesting. And you draw that thing in towards you. You draw the frames of reality that connect to that vision board and all that type of stuff to you. So it just almost acts in the opposite way towards it's not like you're the passive thing. You're the thing that's just sitting, waiting for it to happen. It's you have some type of communication with higher self, being passion, excitement, and you do step by step. You take action, and you bring it towards you.
And that actually is what you described in the last episode that we did. And we have these frames that we could work through. And as you said, you can't skip frames because that will mess up the concept and your reality if you are skipping a lot of frames. Well,
Yes,
if you're interested, you can always go back and listen to that, because there are good reflection and meditations or contemplations, or what we will call them, that Cody have given us example of. So you should definitely check into it. It's always in the end of the chat that we are having here, the teaching, the mini workshop. So that brings us closer to the end of it, and we always finish off with a healing that we are going to do. But I also want to say that next time we get together, it's law 5. The only constant is change, except for the laws. And if you think that I will end this mini workshop, you are wrong, because there are other laws, and Cody will be back explaining more about those. So, but that will be a later sequence, because we are going to do the foundational laws. So we are really diving into understanding of how to use and work with the laws.
Yes, yeah, and the masteries of each one, the levels of mastery that connect to each of the laws. Law 4 is, the sage being a person that can literally change the environment around them to reflect basically the environment that they want to be in. And so, yeah, it's a very powerful mastery. Once you get down to it, you literally can change your environment, not just shapeshift you, but literally change your environment and have others around you experience that change.
I got the vision of a Shaolin monk now, making these movements and creating a lot of energy there, because they are masters of this law, actually.
Yes, very much.
And yeah, we should definitely talk about that when we come to that mastery. But we are not going to talk about it today. We're going to do meditation right now. Or healing, sorry, healing.
Yes, yeah. Yeah. Well, I brought the clear crystal ball for this one. I thought it'd be a good one, since this one's more like a magnifying glass, but for some reason I kind of also felt like it's a good reflector. It kind of reflects images once you get to a certain spot. Yeah. Yeah. So this is a good one for this topic, I would say. Right. So for anybody that does not know, basically I'm going to be channeling this energy through me, and if you're wanting the energy, just accept. You consciously or verbally, even if you want to, say, I want this energy, and it'll come to you. If you don't want the energy, that's perfectly fine. You just say, I don't want it, and it won't affect you or come to you or anything like that. So, so let me grab some water quick. Okay. energy, the finishing up. So, deep breath.
That was interesting. There was a lot of jumping within my own thoughts.
Yes, yeah, even myself too. Usually when I'm doing this channeling, it's only like a tunnel of energy that I can feel as if they're getting, the bigger, kind of when it's ending. But this time it was lots of thoughts being jumped around.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Very, very messy. That's all the
Yes.
creation that we've been talking about that hasn't manifested.
Yes.
They were been
Mhm.
swirling by here.
Mhm.
But
Well,
definitely
maybe it
working
was a
out.
good thing. Yeah, maybe it's a good thing because there's the new moon in Capricorn, I believe, right now, and it's kind of a good time to kind of let go of things, and therefore this kind of energy could have been making you aware of how much you're kind of jumping around, and so that you can kind of let go of that busy mind, if you will, to kind of be more aware of it and to let it go.
That is so accurate. No, thank you for that. Yeah,
Yes, yeah.
I will
Also,
definitely
yeah.
be aware of what you just said.
Mhm. Yeah. Also, kind of wanted to say that when I put my hand out, it's not necessarily that all the energy is coming through my hand. It's actually coming from all of me, but it's just a better representation that there's actual energy coming through is when I have my hand up. So it's kind of saying it's not just the hand; it's the entire body that's projecting it out. So
That is also a mirroring, right?
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
when I hold up hands, it's not just the I can feel energy pouring out, it's also the receiving part of it that I can
Mhm.
feel the energy that you are tapping into. If you're doing healing, for an example, you can feel the other energy. So it's a two-way, it's a polarity that you were talking about earlier. Yeah, two dots in the mirror in the middle. So
Yes. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm.
everything is coming back to the
Yeah.
existence that everything exists here and now.
Yeah.
And it's kind of
Yeah.
nice to see how it's way weaved together, the energy.
Yes, right. Exactly. Yeah. It's once you go step by step into each one, you know how much each one is so correlated with the other one, and that it all literally weaves all together, to create this foundation. Yeah.
Definitely. So what can we expect next time we get together?
Yes,
Um,
the only constant is change. Yes, that one is a very interesting one because it kind of deals with how there might be, single frames of reality, but that frame will never stay. It's not like you can be stuck in one frame of reality. There's constant movement, constant change.
hmm. So that is actually something to look forward to dive into that, because it doesn't seem like a very profound law when you are describing it. And usually when it seems pretty plain, it's very deep.
Yes. Yeah.
So that is going to be very interesting. So, well, we are going to close down right now. So we will see you back here in 2 weeks. And thank you once again, Cody, for have the patience to explain all these messy thoughts that are coming up
Yes.
here.
Yes. Yeah. I hope that some of it got through. People.
I definitely think it will sink in, and for those who actually are interested and feeling the energy and the explanation that comes with this discussion, it definitely brings another depth into one's own thought about what the reality actually is about. So definitely, thank you once again. And thank you for tuning in. And we will see you back here in 2 weeks talking about the only constant is change except for the laws with Cody, Bryce, and myself. See you later. Bye bye.